last quarter of the 10th century was a time of conflict and searching. There was conflict between church and state, between Anglo-Saxons and Vikings. At the same time, the Norsemen voyaged into the unknown, looking for a new land to pillage, and so discovered America. Hang on. Sorry, I heard something. Okay, I think the lady's name in this is Merwin. And, sorry, stuff on top of the fridge. She grows up in a little place in Cornwall. Well, she grew up in Cornwall. And she's a very lonely girl, and just with her mother. And her mother tells her that she is a descendant of King Arthur. And Ruman, he's, my goodness, I can't keep my thought. Ruman came from Provence to visit the court of his cousin. See, that's the cat playing. That's what that is. I heard something. His cousin, King Edgar. So began a quest that was to last his whole life. So Ruman stops in Cornwall on his way to see King Edgar, and he meets up with Merwin, and then he meets Merwin's mother, who is dying, and the mother confesses to Ruman that her daughter is not actually a descendant of King Arthur, but the daughter doesn't know it, and the mother has him promise not to tell her. So he has to take Merwin with him because she has no place to go. Her mom's gone, and the village that she's beside is not very good. Like, the people in it are dirty and non-kept and just not the best. So anyways, he ends up with her. But he takes her to, what are they? Hang on. Chance or fate, in the form of a shipwreck off the Cornish coast, brought Ruman and Merwin together. And from that hour their lives were intertwined, bound by his vow to her dying mother. Ruman brought Merwin safely to England and kept from her and all others the shameful secret of her birth. But there his responsibility ends. Elfrida, Queen of England, dazzled him with her beauty and held him in subjection to her will. And she's not a nice lady, but he doesn't realize how evil she is. When he does figure out how evil she is, and she does evil stuff he finds out about, he turns to Merwin and realizes he does have feelings for her, but he just can't stand it that she's really a nobody, and that she's living this lie. But when he turns to her, she has been kidnapped by the Vikings and taken to Iceland. So he goes after her because he feels like it's his fault that she was taken, because Merwin came to him to confess her love of him, hoping that he would have her, and then he turned her down. He couldn't stand the fact of her birth, that she wasn't, royalty at all. She's just of low birth, and, a bastard child of that. So he sends her off, and then she ends up in the next village. She ends up getting taken by the Vikings, so he feels very guilty. So he goes after her, but then there's a shipwreck, and then they're on an island. They talks about that and what goes on. Talks about her life and what goes on in Greenland, because she does get married. She does have a child. So when he finally does find her, she's married. She's got a child. She can't go anyplace. But of course they're Catholic, and of course the Vikings are not. So this is very difficult because Merwin was raised as a Catholic, and now she has to believe in all the gods like Thor that the Vikings believe in, which she has difficulty with, but she lives with it. And she finds out more about her family and who she comes from, and she does actually find her father. And then they move to Greenland, and anyways, long story short, that doesn't turn out so well, and But she stays there. She's in Greenland a long time. It's not good at all. And because they can't grow anything. And, you know, anyways, her husband dies. That's right, too. So she heads back to England, where everybody still believes she's a descendant. And everybody feels for her because they feel like she's been kidnapped by the Vikings and gone all these years. So anyway, she gets mixed up with the new king and queen and all the courts things that go on, and Ruman, who he's already taken a vow with the church, so they can't be together now. So anyways, it's actually pretty good. I know I really did a bad job. I should just start all over and tell that again much more smoothly, but I'm not going to. This is one of the books I picked up from the library at the library sale. The first thing I had problems with this book is the names. Finn is a girl. And of course, I started to read it, and I'm thinking of the name Finnegan, which I know as a boy. So that threw me off at first, because it's actually short for Serafina. I'd have to look it up. Then she meets a boy, and his name is Christy. Seriously, his name is Christy. Why would you name a boy Christy? A boy's name is not Christy. Anyways, light behind me. Then there's another girl that comes in the story. Her name is Sylvie. I'm doing better with Sylvie. At first, I just said Sylvia because I related to Sylvia and I didn't relate to Sylvie. It seemed weird to say Sylvie and not say Sylvia, but anyways. So they call her Finn, even though it's Serafina. Yeah, I would have to look again to see and try to pronounce her name. But anyways, in the very beginning of this book, Finn's sister, Lily Rose, has killed herself. And her mom is already gone, and her dad and her decide to move away from where they are. And so now she has a new school to go to. And her dad gets a teaching job at a school. So it talks about her meeting her new friends. Now this town is very spooky. Now she has not yet figured out how spooky it is. She keeps seeing things and things keep happening, but she's just kind of like pushing it aside and ignoring it. I'm like, you can't ignore this. You can want to ignore it and run from it and be afraid of it all you want to, but it's not going to help, because you've seen this. You've seen, like, you know, the ghost of a girl, or you've seen, I think she sees some warrior, like a Viking warrior, you know, and she sees different things going on, and then she keeps just, like, denying it. And no, I didn't really see that. No, I didn't really see it. Yeah, you did see that. And you can ignore it all you want, but it's not going to help that this town has a whole lot of strange things going on. And I think this Jack guy, from what I can tell, I'm not very far in this book, but I think, yeah, I'm only on page 61. I'm thinking that Jack is, like, dead. And I'm thinking probably his whole family is maybe either dead or like the Highlander, like they're immortal. In some way, they're immortal. Whether they died, they came back, or whether they're... I don't think the vampires, not that I know of yet. It seems, I don't know, just immortal or something, but I'll just have to wait and see. Okay, that's it. I'm taking into Proxen. Back pain, had enough of the back pain.